My name is Nadeem Mohammed. I'm the Road Safety Manager at Transport for Greater Manchester, and I'm going to talk about the needs of subnational transport authorities such as Greater Manchester. So, about Greater Manchester. We have a population of around 2.8 million, and the economy is larger than Wales, Northern Ireland, or North East economies. We have 2 city councils and 8 local councils. About Transport for Greater Manchester. Our ambition is for 50% of journeys in Greater Manchester by walking, cycling and public transport by 2040. TFGM's role includes policy strategy, project development and delivery. We own the UK's largest light rail network known as Metrolink, with 8 lines, over 100 kilometres of route and 99 stops. We operate 2,300 sets of traffic signals, including Highways England signals within Greater Manchester. Strategic oversight and management of 650 kilometres of key route network and street works through a permit scheme. We coordinate 237 fixed safety cameras and over 200 mobile locations on local roads. And we administer the Safer Roads Greater Manchester, or SRGM, partnership. Road safety in Greater Manchester and some key points. The Mayor, Andy Burnham, was re-elected in May 2021, and the current manifesto includes the development of a road danger reduction action plan. This is to focus on the sources of road danger. Similar to elsewhere, reductions in killed or seriously injured KSI collisions and casualties has slowed, and disappointingly, recently, with some increases in fatalities. A lack of specific funding and national targets are a key challenge. For example, recorded KSI hit and run averages, that's often drivers without insurance and or a license, increased by 45% between 2017 to 19 when compared to 2014 to 16. The fear of enforcement, or the deterrent, has reduced significantly. Pressure on police funding has led to roads policing being seen as an easy target for reductions in many areas and not just Greater Manchester. Targets and performance indicators, or as I like to say, what gets measured gets done. The next strategy should include road safety national targets. The public don't necessarily recognise local boundaries when travelling, and our targets should reflect this. They also expect a similar level of service across local boundaries. In Scotland, which I feel is a good example, targets apply to the whole of government, and road safety is not just seen as a highways and transportation issue. KSI collisions and casualties should be considered as outcome indicators, with other metrics as performance indicators, for example, speed compliance, breath testing rates, mobile device use whilst driving, and perceptions of safety. Transport and road safety inequalities and links to deprivation are well understood. We need a levelling up on road safety. Walking, cycling, and accessing public transport shouldn't really require bravery. Funding. There isn't a specific annual source of road safety funding to support interventions. Local authorities are having to make difficult decisions, for example, children's and adult social services demand. Safer Roads capital funding is welcomed, including for walking and cycling. Funding commitments will support the development of a pipeline of infrastructure schemes. However, revenue funding is also required for other measures. The DfT Safer Roads Fund has used the Road Safety Foundation's methodology. For urban roads, the methodology for risk analysis is acknowledged as experimental. Will this be reflected in decision making and prioritisation? More traffic equals greater road danger, and the use of rates by vehicle distance travelled is not always representative for urban roads. Artificial intelligence can help gather new data to help solve this problem. There is an opportunity for the DfT to fund research into an appropriate measure of safety for urban roads as part of the new strategy. Urban and rural roads are not comparable and should not be competing for funding. Policing and road policing and justice. There has been more than a decade of cuts to roads policing in some areas. Since 2010, in some cases, the percentage reductions for roads policing have been twice or more the reductions in overall officer numbers in police forces. Differences between road deaths and homicide figures isn't reflected in priorities. Look at all the good work and investment done in preventing knife crime, for example. A strategy is required to increase the capacity for roads policing. Systemic recruitment challenges exist due to previous recruitment priorities and the lead time for training. Roads policing is highly specialised. Should direct entry recruitment be considered for roads policing, similar to that for detectives? What impact does smart motorways enforcement have on capacity for local road enforcement and the local justice system? Is this impact taken into consideration, and does any monitoring take place to measure this? Is there an appropriate level of priority and understanding of risk? In 2020, Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services recommended that, with immediate effect, Chief Constables should satisfy themselves that the resources allocated to policing the strategic road network within their force areas are sufficient, yet local roads have a collision risk that is 4 to 8 times higher. The victims of road traffic collisions are not able to take advantage of central government funded victim support. This needs to change, or another funding stream should be provided. The public should be consulted on changes to road offender sentencing guidelines. Anecdotally, strong public opinion suggests dissatisfaction with road death offender sentencing, particularly where there are aggravating factors. The potential for multifunction safety cameras. So, spot the difference. There are two pictures here of two cameras. The latest safety cameras operate on automatic number plate recognition technology, or ANPR. They operate on common platforms. So, for example, the grey camera at the top is used for ANPR, and the yellow camera at the bottom is used for safety camera purposes. So that could be spot speed, average speed, or red light. ANPR-based speed and red light cameras could be used to detect uninsured and hot list vehicles, gather data on walking, cycling, and motorcycling when not required for safety camera enforcement. The capability for multifunction safety cameras already exists and is in use elsewhere. Home Office type approval and national ANPR standards should be updated to enable this. Note that in the interest of public support, the ask is for safety cameras to be multifunction and not necessarily for ANPR locations to enforce speed or red light. Enabling this will be a significant step forward in preventing illegal driving and hit and run collisions. It should be included as an immediate action as part of a new strategy or action plan. Communication and marketing campaigns. Many common messages are delivered in many different ways by many organisations or partnerships. More campaigns could be run consistently for central government at a national level. For example, where other vehicles are involved, people riding bicycles and motorcycles face similar dangers from motor vehicles. A more joined up effort to promote coping strategies for drivers to look and see is necessary. Seatbelt, mobile device, and in-car technology use and impairment continue to be problems. There's an opportunity for a more joined up national campaign planning with more regional involvement, for example, via Road Safety GB regions, both on and off social media, as many of the people that we need to reach with our messages don't necessarily use social media. Thank you. That is the end of the presentation.
So, David, you said that you were handing over to me. Did you want to introduce Steve, who is actually our next presenter?
Yeah, I'd love to introduce Steve, actually. I was prematurely